Directly after Katrina, I think everyone realized when all the communications were down, you really couldn't talk to your family or anyone else. That was a scary moment for everyone. So I think that was the realization that we've got to do a better job of communicating. So everyone found a way to find their family and find out where they were and how to talk to them. And so once we got through that part, I think that was the most frightening, other than looking at your home and it may have been totally destroyed. You wanted to know your family was okay. So I think getting through that, I think everybody looks at, okay, we have what we have. It's emotional, it was painful, but I don't think anybody just threw up their hands and said, oh my God, I can't deal with this, I'm leaving. They just went to work amazingly quickly, got neighborhoods back to at least a living normal, not to where they were before Katrina, but it's someplace that they could feel comfortable going back home and living while they fixed everything around them that was broken.
I was the police chief at the time Katrina came through, and obviously my first most important job was for the protection of life. As my police officers and I went out immediately after the storm passed, and we started rescuing people off of rooftops, out of trees, or wherever we found them, we were met in the street by our citizens in their own boats, their own four-wheel drives, their own out rescuing citizens themselves and helping their neighbors or anybody out that they could find.
We just did the work that had to be done. You worked all day, much of the night, but I think the public was so cooperative. They knew that they might not get a phone call or their answer in 5 minutes or an hour, but they understood and they accepted that they have to participate in this also.
I knew that day, just from what I was seeing from our own citizens, that Slidell would rebound. I knew that day that Slidell would bounce back and be a bigger and better city than it was prior to that, to Katrina passing through.
It happened almost every day in seeing what people would do for one another. Just in my neighborhood, and I'm sure every neighborhood had some of the same stories. We were kind of in a pine forest, so trees were down across roads. You couldn't get to your home. So a neighborhood group. I was a councilwoman for District 4 at the time, so I was trying to do as much as I could here. But they just banded together, pulled out all their chainsaws, and they just cut a path down every little street so people could at least get one car in and out of their home. It was no question about, let's do my street first, they started at the front and they went all the way through and just did what was necessary. We knew that water and food would be an issue, so everybody shared what they had, and I saw this firsthand when they were trying to use the things in their refrigerator and freezer so it wouldn't go bad and they wouldn't lose everything. The whole neighborhood was fed that way, and that happened all over St. Tammany Parish.
Our citizens at the time of the storm reached out to their families, their neighbors, people they didn't even know. They were giving them places to live, sharing what food they had with them.
Families opened their doors where you may have had 6 or 8 people living in one home at one time. You may have 16 or 20. And this went on for a pretty extended time, longer than most people thought it would happen. But no one complained about it. It's just, we have space. Let's do what we have to do, whether it was family, friends, or just someone that a friend sent to you. I think opening our arms and our doors and our homes to people, I think that showed who we were, who we are still today.
The resiliency of the city, a lot of credit goes to the faith-based groups that just literally ascended upon this city after the storm. We had food ministries set up. We had ministries set up who was helping people with clothing and housing. We had ministries that came in that did nothing but remove trees off of people's homes or clear their property. A lot of people couldn't get anybody. A lot of people couldn't afford to pay the prices that a lot of these people came to this city after the storm to put on roofs. They couldn't afford to pay the big prices. They wanted to have trees taken off of their homes. These ministries came in here and they did thousands and thousands and thousands of man-hours.
The people that came to St. Tammany and decided to stay, they changed their lives. They moved here. Business people, the children in school, it changed us a little bit, the demographics obviously, but St. Bernard, for instance, it's just wonderful having the influx of people from St. Bernard, and they're hardworking just as St. Tammaniites are, and I think they were comfortable here because they had the same type of community that they had to leave. So when they came to our community, they saw, wait, this is like more like home than someplace else might be. So they opened those businesses, they started working as hard as they could, and they're a big part of our community now, everywhere we go, everywhere we look. So I think that's the main thing that I see, the result 10 years later. I still see people, and a lot of them moved to specific communities together because there weren't enough houses. But those subdivisions that had homes that had been built that were just waiting to be sold, they were snapped up. So whole groups from different areas would buy several homes. So they were able to keep their feeling of neighbors still being together.
You know, Katrina was a very, very bad thing, but it's been a very good thing in many, many ways. This city has bounced back tremendously. This city will be a bigger, better city. This city has become a bigger, better city after post-Katrina.
I hope what people will remember about Katrina in the 10 years is, look who we were when Katrina struck. We worked as one community, everybody helping everyone. I hope we remember that for a very, very long time. I think we still have some of those emotions, some of those feelings, and I hope we'll have them a long time without having to have another emergency to take us to that point. But I love it that St. Tammany is so open and accepting of different people and different cultures, and we just meld it all into who we really are. And that's what makes St. Tammany so great.